Linderbaum is gone. Tyler Linderbaum declares for the NFL Draft. More on that in a moment. A reminder as always though, first, subscribe. Please subscribe to our channel. If you haven't already done so, hit the like button for this video as well. It helps immensely. So Tyler Linderbaum made the announcement official this morning that he is headed to the NFL Draft. Something that many fans kind of expected and viewed as inevitable, although the delay in announcing this, I think, got some fans' hopes up, and certainly, difficult departure, because this is a kid who loves being a Hawkeye. There's no question about it, and Iowa fans loved him being there at the center of Iowa's offense. So, what does this mean moving forward? Well, first of all, let's take a look now, now that we've got basically, I think, every announcement, every potential super senior announcement let's take a look at those announcements. So again, let's start on the right side here. You see the departing players. Tyler Linderbaum, again, announcing that he is leaving Iowa. Of course, he is an underclassman. And by the way, those three in orange are all guys who did have eligibility remaining. They had at least a year or two remaining. Again, not counting the COVID-free year. These guys were juniors that departed. So Tyler Linderbaum, of course, Dane Belton, Tyler Goodson, all were juniors, all leaving for the draft. Now, below those three players, Jack Kerner, Kyler Schott, Ivory Kelly-Martin, Xavier Williams, all four of those guys could have returned because of the free COVID year that the NCAA is allowing players to take. But each of those guys has announced that they will be leaving. So, who is coming back? You see on the left, Charlie Jones at wide receiver. We got that announcement this week. Riley Moss got things started off, kind of kicked things off here a week or two ago. Jack Campbell, Sam Laporta also returning. Those guys were not seniors. Charlie Jones, Riley Moss specifically taking advantage of the free COVID year. Campbell, Laporta back. Of course, there was some speculation that they may decide to go the NFL route, and of course, they are back. So, what does this mean moving forward? Any more announcements possible? I don't think so. Henry Marquez is a guy who I think would be eligible for an extra COVID year. He did go through the senior day ceremony. I don't expect him to come back. Of course, he's been big on special teams, but I don't expect that announcement to occur. And then Ryan Gersonde, obviously, has not necessarily worked out at punter the way Iowa probably envisioned when they offered him a scholarship. He is likely to be graduating here, has likely already graduated, and is moving on. And really, there's no one else on the roster that I see that would be eligible for that last year, that extra year because of COVID. Now, as far as center is concerned, the departure of Linderbaum is going to be difficult. We understood that heading into this announcement. So who replaces Tyler? Of course, Matt Fagan, Jr. out of Council Bluffs, was on the depth chart most of the season, although we saw in the bowl game, we saw Kyler Schott, when Tyler Linderbaum went down briefly, Kyler Schott slid over and played center briefly, and of course Kyler is moving on. So who does Iowa turn to? Is it Fagan? Perhaps. Is it a guy like Michael Myslinski? Of course, we've talked about the 2021 recruiting class and how strong Iowa was in that class on the O-line. So perhaps a guy like Myslinski ends up being the answer at center. It will be an intriguing battle this spring. Everybody's going to be looking at quarterback. I'm going to be looking at the guy who is snapping the ball to the quarterback. Again, maybe that's Myslinski, maybe that's Fagan. I kind of recall to mind something that Don Patterson has brought up to me in the past, of course, in his years coaching with Coach Hayden Fry here at Iowa. And he has talked to me about how if you're comparing an older guy and a younger guy, at least with Hayden's teams, when they would compare an older guy and a younger guy, that older guy has to be a lot better than that younger guy to be able to take the starting spot, because he's older. The younger guy has more room to grow, more potential, more upside, you could say. So I would expect the same for Kirk's team, I would think. So Fagan would probably have to be a good notch above a guy like Myslinski or whoever else is behind him, because, again, it's a pretty young unit. But you hope that somebody can step forward, at least for depth purposes, even if it is Fagan, and, again, provide some depth there at center. So we will be back with you on Sunday for postgame with Gary Close. We'll be releasing our weekly podcast tomorrow. We've got a live show with Don Patterson, a football-related live show Sunday night over at Iowa at the Voice of College Football. And so we continue to provide you almost daily content here at From the Hawkeye of the Storm. So please subscribe if you haven't already done so. Please like this video, and we will talk to you soon.